Hey, good afternoon. Welcome to the Probate Mastery Alumni Call. We get together every Tuesday at noon Pacific time, where I'm at in Los Angeles, 3 p.m. in Eastern time if you're in Florida or New York or appropriate, or in everything in between on either side. We get together every week at this time. We also record it and put it on the probatemastery.com website. This call is designed for practitioners looking to build their business, whether you're a real estate agent or an investor or a wholesaler. And it's particularly for people who have taken or getting ready to take the Probate Mastery Coaching program and then begin the process and learn how to, and then come on here every week asking questions from other people who are on the same path of you, maybe a little ahead of you, maybe a little behind you. But hopefully we're all working together in the same process, sharing best practices, vendors, and things like that. I'm Bill Gross, and I'm a practitioner, I'm a real estate broker in Los Angeles. I'm building a national team of probate experts. And I took the class with Chad 3.5 years ago before he was with Probate Mastery. And then I helped run this live stream. I'm literally, if I show my the screen, finishing out the EARN program, which is EARN Attorney Referrals Now program. So I'm a student of his as well as hopefully a experienced success story to some degree. I've built a great business in Los Angeles, California, based on probate, and now I'm building a national team beneath me to expand and leverage that. And it's really doing the things that Chad set me out to do. And I think there's a number of different ways, Chad covers a lot in the program. And I think one of the mistakes agents or students make on that program is to assume you have to do all of it or pick one that fits in what they think is the most common. And there's a lot of different ways one can approach this business. And I've taken a real focus on attorney referrals. It's been my specialty, but I do some of all of it. And so I'm glad to share along the way. So again, the purpose of this call is to primarily answer questions and share with people who are involved in the business. So our first question, I know, Melanie, you had a question you want to ask, and so you're going to get to be first. Go ahead.
All right. Hey. All right. So I have a prospective client that I spoke with last night, and it's kind of one of those cases, like a lot of probate cases, it's very, very multifaceted, a lot of layers to it, a lot of family members involved, a lot of hostility, etc. And I'm really not sure which way to go with this one. Looking for a little bit of advice on which way to go first with this client. I don't think we're going to be able to do a whole lot for him, but just to kind of give you a quick rundown on this one, I have some notes here. This has been in probate. It's been, the father passed away about a year ago in June, and my client and his son were named on the will. The second brother and sister were not.
Well, hold on. Let's be precise. First off, this, I know the answer, but the state you're doing this in is the state of?
Florida.
Okay, so very important because laws are different in every state.
Yes.
Second, you say they're named as something. They're named as heirs, as executors of the will. What are they named as?
So he doesn't really know, but he does have a copy of the will. We'd probably have to meet him. He states heir, that he and his son, were on the will, and this gentleman's brother and other siblings are not on the will. Another brother was named as the PR. He passed away in April. So now...
So PR would be personal representative. Now, does that mean
Correct.
He filed a probate case and then died while it's in process?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. So now we're a couple of months out.
Okay.
Brother, who was not named on the will nor made executor, is now raising his stink with the family.
Sure.
And his girlfriend is now living in the home.
Classic.
About 450. You hear this classically, right?
Classic.
All the time. So he kind of wants to know what his rights are and whatnot, but to further complicate the case, this gentleman did some white collar crime. He is an ex-convict, and in Florida, you cannot be named a PR.
The person, so when we say this person, you mean the competing brother?
The one that called me, the one that I called, yeah.
Okay, so this is your client who's the heir, but he's not named as executor in the will.
Correct, because he has a white collar criminal background and was convicted.
Okay, and so therefore he can't, or it'd be difficult for him to be named as the executor of the will. I'm sorry, the administrator of the will now that the executor has passed. Okay, got it.
Correct. Okay. So the deceased father, did not want the other siblings to have any rights to anything. The girlfriend is living in the home. What do we do? So that's kind of where I don't really know what to tell him what to do at this point. It's complicated, but I've had these before.
What part of Florida is this? You're in Tampa, correct?
Yeah, I'm in Tampa.
Do you work with a particular probate litigation attorneys or any particular probate administration attorneys?
So I'm really just getting started. I do have a couple of lawyers in my bag. Of course, Al Nicoletti is one of them, and I've got another gal that
Great. Just
he's
start
awesome.
there. Let's just stop there for a second. That's fine. You found the right guy.
Yeah.
He covers the whole state. He's as good as anybody. So I'm literally, as we're doing this, I stopped about 4/5 through one of Chad's other programs, which is Earn Attorney Referrals Now. I'm not saying it to be commercial, but just to be fair, literally one of the things he's talking about is looking for the opportunity to create value for the attorney. So if you want to work with Al Nicoletti, it's one thing to introduce him to your client to help your client. It's another thing to introduce him in a way that Al goes, wow, Melanie, you're a great agent. I don't know other agents in Tampa. I'll refer my next deal to you. That's what you want to earn at some point. The way we earn that relationship is by creating value for the attorney. Of course, referring cases is one part of it, but referring them efficiently. If you listen to the attorneys, particularly on this program, they're very busy. At least their perception is they're all ridiculously busy. Now, I'm a real estate agent. I don't think they work like we do. I think in their minds, and not mean any disrespect, their tolerance or standards of work are less than ours. They're going to work more commonly 40-hour work week and take off vacation times, not 2 weeks a year, 5 weeks a year, 8 weeks a year. Most realtors, we don't have that kind of time off, either because we can't afford it. Those that can't afford it don't take the time off because I think I enjoy it. I wouldn't want to take that kind of time off. I'd be bored in 5 weeks. But the attorneys appreciate when you can make it efficient for them. So one of the things, as you notice when I had a conversation with you, being very precise on who's who. And I find oftentimes that clients will call me with questions and they just want the answer, but they don't want to necessarily help me help them get the answer. It's important to get a copy of the will so that when you speak authoritatively, because there's a big world of difference between those two being heirs, because it might be there's an executor, it might mean there's a successor executor in the will, in case so-and-so is not available. And so all those are things that you can't give legal advice, but you certainly can read and then either provide to the attorney or summarize to the attorney. Nowadays with cell phones, it's easier for people to take pictures of it and send it to you. There's no reason not to if you can. I think sometimes we're scared to ask the customer to give us information. We feel like we're making them do work. But I think the opposite, if they do the work with us, they're not going to share it with somebody else. They're going to see that we're professional in our approach and appreciate the way that we work with them. So I would say it's really important to, if you can, either meet in person, take a copy with their permission of the will, or get them to shoot you a copy of it. So that number one, you begin your relationship with your client. And number two, when you work with an attorney, you're being as efficient and professional as an attorney would referring the business. All that said, now we're getting into the law. That's now the Nicoletti question. When somebody passes in California, there's a case opened, and then if that person who has not yet been named as the executor passes, let's say he filed, but they never got the actual approval from the court, you can file a competing petition because it just takes 30 days. If they're already approved, you would file to replace the deceased executor with a new administrator. And there's a process to do that. You need an attorney to help you with that. I imagine this process is similar in Florida, but again, that's an Al Nicoletti question, what that process looks like. And so another point you made was about the son who had the white collar crime history not being able to be the petitioner. So in California, for example, the judge can or may allow them or may not allow them, depending on their discretion, if there's other parties objecting and such. And the part of the issue is, can they get bonded? Because if the judge doesn't want to appoint somebody, if they need to get a bond, if he knows they can't get bonded. So sometimes what happens is the attorney will offer to be the administrator of the will for their client. In fact, the most prolific, I think, or second, one of the top 2 or 3 most active attorneys in LA County, that's his standard course. He gets customers who are financially unable to be the executor, and he will get them bonded by guaranteeing the bond or acting as the administrator. Some attorneys don't like to do that. Many don't, particularly those that don't do that many because they don't really know what they're doing and they're scared. And they'll make the customer hire a professional fiduciary, which is very expensive. Like I said, the 1 or 2 that do the most in LA County, he will either be the administrator or he will get the bond himself. So those are the areas you might want to talk to Al about. But I would say before I call him, because you want to get as much value from that time as you can, I would do everything I can to get the will ahead of time and then make sure I read ahead because the executor passed. Is there any succession in the will? If there's not, then you can tell him that. And you also give him a copy of the one he can read if he wants to.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you. Great advice.
Thank you. Good.
So much.
My pleasure. Thank you. Okay, next question I saw in the chat box from Christopher. Christopher asks me, who in LA is attorney that will guarantee the bond of a financially challenged heir? Not a financially challenged heir. This would be of a financially challenged prospective executor. There's a difference, right? An heir, anybody can advance money. I have an inheritance advance company, just in case anybody is interested. If you have an heir who, whether they're the only heir or they're the executor and an heir, or they're just one of the heirs, and they don't want to wait the whole probate process to get money. Sometimes they need the money for attorney's fees or fixing up a house or avoiding foreclosure. And the most common cases will advance them $10,000, $20,000. It's like a payday loan. It costs them about 50 to 100%, but it comes out at the end of the probate. So it can be like a year, in some cases 2, 3, 4 years. There's no interest on it. So it can be expensive, but it's a very efficient way to get some money right away for somebody who needs $10,000, $20,000 cash to advance fees. So yeah, so Chris was asking me, I don't know that I have permission to talk about his business online. Christopher, you want to catch me offline, we can talk about that one, but I don't think I can share who the attorney is that does that. The important thing to take away for everybody on this call is any attorney can be the administrator if the other heirs approve, and or you can hire a third party, or you can appoint any third party to be the administrator if everybody approves. They'll have to be bonded and be bondable. So it's not really that difficult. The attorneys are getting paid as legal fees. And so, and I think also the attorney has a vested interest in the estate. So he's watching it very closely. Anybody else who's not an interested party is going to get paid for their time and risk. But if it's another heir, they might be willing to be the administrator, maybe for nominal fees. So anybody can do it, but I think you look at who's interested, an interested party, and the one who's going to be interested is an attorney who's already getting full fees. A realtor can do it. I have a friend who's a real estate agent, Tanya English, who's a professional fiduciary. So she'll do cases where she's the fiduciary as well and get paid that way. Okay, I hope that helps, Chris, but call offline if I can help you with that. So let me see, Richard, I don't know if you're available and want to jump in as well. I see a question. You did a mailer. What are the words to say when you get your message out there?
My question is, I'm not sure what to put out there. It's got to be something short and sweet, but you need something to get your message out. And obviously I drive around different neighborhoods, and some of the houses in nice neighborhoods are pretty rough. So, obviously there's something going on there. So that's like, I want to send a mailer to houses like that. So I'm going to pick my own houses to send them to, but I need to know, I guess, how to word it. What would you use, or what have you done? Or I don't know if you do mailers or not, Bill, but.
So I don't now. Just to clarify, you're a real estate agent and you're in Maryland, correct?
Correct. And I live in Towson.
And are you looking primarily as an investor to find properties, or you're looking primarily to find properties to list as an agent?
It's a list.
Got it. And so you're driving and finding distressed properties. Amongst those are going to be some probates. Is that kind of what you're finding?
Right. Yes.
Yeah. So in that case, I think mailing is like a lot of things. I think it's a very deep issue. There's a lot to it. The people who do it well, the people who do it professionally, it's not one thing. It's a lot of little things at the edges. You'll see some people very successful who use yellow envelopes. So you see other people who use postcards only. Other people will say when they use a jumbo postcard because it's big and it's on both sides. And I think that what I have noticed in my career when people mail is it's a constant process of refinement. And sometimes the people sharp will send out 2 at a time and track the results of both and constantly look to improve the results of the next mailer and the next mailer. The other constant I would say is that the mailing is a process, not an activity. You can't do it once and expect results. You use the word, get your name out there, your brand out there, and that takes more than one mailer for people. Now, my experience with mailing is if you mail somebody something 6 times, let's say every other month for a year, they assume you've been mailing monthly for like 3 years. That's what it feels like to them. So the impact of branding is always more. It's like geometric. With each additional one, you get more value. I think the same is true with email. I think the same is true with social media. And I use primarily now social media and YouTube as my main marketing tactic. So I don't really have any particular experience. I used to mail to petitioners pre-COVID. I stopped when COVID hit. I've not restarted just because I've been busy enough without it to put my money and time into other things. So I can't really add to it. I've done limited mailing and limited emails on very specific properties, but I can't say I really have anything to add to what you're doing other than I would urge you to think about a strategy that includes multiple mailing, multiple touch points, and then testing every single time. You need to track what results you're getting.
Thank you.
Best I can offer. Thanks, though. Thanks for jumping in and sharing. Lisa asks me, will you go into a little more detail about your marketing system? Do you update the Probate Leads emails or to social media? Do you run target ads? I raise my hands, but I have a loud vacuum cleaner in the background. Okay, well, at least we'll give you special privileges since you have a vacuum cleaner in the background. So my marketing system, I think I'm glad to go into the details. I don't want to bore anybody because I think the thing that I tell people when I do coaching calls on my team members on Probate Mastery, there's actually a chance if you want to buy time with me, I'm glad to sit down with you and do what I would call a business planning session for half an hour, costs $500. Not cheap, but I can give you, my time. But what I always say is you have to start with your goals, your assets, your strengths, and play to that. So before I get in my marketing system, I will tell you that my father was an attorney. I had been as a kid, as a child, I'd been to the one courthouse in LA County that has almost all the probates in it, the largest probate courthouse in America. I'd been there as a little kid, probably laying on the floors and running around, but I'm more comfortable there than most people as a result. I was pre-law in college on the debate team, more comfortable speaking publicly than most people. I like wearing suits and ties and going to court. I like wearing Brooks Brothers clothes once in a while. I don't do it every day, but when I go to court, I enjoy that. I can speak in a lawyerly manner. And so for me, when I looked at probate and I took Chad's class and I was writing my business plan, he challenged us to go to court one day just to see the process. And I did. And I noticed some opportunities to network. And so pre-COVID, my marketing plan was I went every day to court. I think most real estate agents need to lead generate 3 hours a day. Sometimes it's phone calling, cold calling, or calling expired listings. Sometimes it's door knocking. But I think I would say any realtor who's full-time building a business should spend 3 hours a day doing lead generation. And so I decided to go to court. I was there at 7:45. You might say, well, that's odd. Why so early? Court did open at 8:30. I got there, stood right at the main intersection where most people would walk by, dressed in suit and tie with a briefcase that looks like an attorney's with a cup of coffee. And I would network with people from 7:45 to 10:45. And I'd go in the courtroom at 8:30. In LA County, there were 9 courtrooms I could choose from depending on where the action was. And I would do that for an hour or so. And then from 8:30 to 9:30ish. And then there was a probate research room I'd go to, and I would do some lookups while I was there, but I also would meet people in that room. And so my basic lead generation initially was 3 hours a day of meeting people in the courthouse, meeting families, investors, and attorneys. And I made a goal of meeting 1.5 per day when I worked out all my numbers. So a good day was 2, not so good day was 1, bad day was 0. And I put them in my database, my center of influence database, and stayed in touch with people. Built up enough of a database where today that's all I really market to. I have emails and I send out emails every week. I have a video channel on probate. I do social media, but I just call those attorneys, investors, clients I already know, and that keeps me pretty busy. And then what I've done is I built my own platforms and I invite other agents in other markets to join my team as I build out a national platform for probate specialist agents who are full-time. So that's my marketing system today. So I don't cold call out to estates. Now, I do get a lot of referrals from other agents because of my expertise. And so I have the database, I create my own data. And yesterday, literally one of the top agents in a particular micro market of LA called me to say, hey, I have a client, it's a probate, I'm lost. And I kind of walked him through what I could do with them. And so we're splitting that listing. And so that's another part of my business is my COI, the referrals from attorneys I know already. And then I get phone calls from other agents. So that's my marketing today. Again, that's not going to necessarily work for everybody, but I would say to anybody, you need to think about your particular strengths. When I started probate, and here's another thing I'll add, I was 60 years old. I had just come out of management and coaching. I had helped build one of the largest companies in my market. I come from the generation where we went from sales, and the idea was you go into management, like you get promoted. That's kind of how I grew up thinking, and it turns out to be a mistake in real estate especially. And I also ended up working for a man who I thought was honest, who was dishonest and would not allow me to buy into being a partner. I could never get any equity. So I decided at 60, I didn't want to do that the rest of my life, work with somebody that I didn't appreciate or respect, and start my career over again at 60 with not one lead, not one buyer, not one seller, not one listing. So when I started this 3-hour day process, I was like a brand new agent, except I knew real estate, except I did have a center of influence. Being 60, I knew a lot of people. And I knew what to do, but I had to go out and do it. So that plan worked for me, but I think you have to think about you and what your assets are and what your strengths are and make sure you play to them. If that makes sense, Lisa. Yeah. Okay, good. And feel free, if I didn't cover it properly, ask more questions. Okay, Claire Monique asks, is there a way title companies can research and provide successor trustees of living trusts? Boy, I get asked this question a lot. So Claire's asking a question, and what she's noticed is separate from probate properties, when somebody dies in probate, I want to say 80% of probates are filed because there's real estate to transfer title on. So it's very common when there's a probate filed, the reason why is to sell a house. And even when families say they're going to not sell the house, they end up selling the house. Like every seller who says they won't sell their house sells their house someday. Either they move every 5 to 7 years or they die, but that's just life. But I think what she's saying is, but I see these other properties that are held in the title of a trust. And I know some of these people are dying. In fact, I might know from a neighbor, there's a trust property, they died, but it's in a trust. How do I find who it is? Can the title company help me with that? That's your question, right?
That is correct.
It's hard to do, I will say. If you don't know anybody involved in the deal, it's hard to do. A couple tricks I've used. When you go back and look at the deed that they used, either before they put in the trust, when they got the property, or put in the trust, sometimes there's clues there. There'll be clues as to who the person is, who the law firm is, who the notary is. So sometimes there's clues there that you can find if you know the property is abandoned or has some issues like that. I've never successfully researched it and found it, got a listing as a result. Just because the time involved in doing that, I might as well call somebody else I know. I've been around long enough now where I don't call everybody I know every 90 days. I'm always behind. And so when I pursue these kinds of things, it's not easily delegatable because sometimes you have to kind of read between the lines and figure this out. And it's not common enough that we can do them all the time. I did see a company that claimed to have properties like this, and they did the research who the owners were, names and phone numbers. Maybe they do. I don't know. I have not seen anybody use that and tell me they've been effective with it. So if you find such a company, come back and let us know. But I'm just not aware of it. Okay. And so Chris says that some title reps can pull a search of a county land records of recently recorded successor trustee information. Okay. I don't know which title reps those are, but it seems like they do less and less these days. Title reps, in the old days, they used to buy you lunch. That's illegal. Or they give you kickbacks. That was always illegal. And they come to your office to drop off coffee cups and related services, pens, and notepads. Now they don't do that. And now it doesn't seem like they give you data for the most part. But if you have a title rep that can help, you might want to ask for the data. Okay?
Will do.
Thanks so much. Let's see. Belinda, if you want to unmute yourself, you can jump in. You're welcome to. Regarding making phone calls, I use another number, Trusta, third-party number provider. I called one of my relatives using the number, and the kid that pops up to their phone as potential spam. Does anyone else have that issue or use another company that does not come up on the side, concerned that people are not picking up the phone if they see this, even if I have a connect number? I have the same problem, Belinda. I've used Google Voice for years since it came out. I want to say 5-10 years now. Love it for my business. Love its efficiency with texts and phone numbers and all that. People do tell me occasionally it shows up as potential spam. I call enough people where some pick up, some don't. The other thing I've also noticed is that they pick up and it says that, and they realize it's me. You get past that moment. But if you're going to use a number for cold calling during the day, you probably don't want to use that number.
Yeah, that's the number I'm using to call my leads after I send a letter out to probate, and then I'll follow up with the phone call. So yeah, it's kind of low return anyway in terms of the numbers I'm getting, and then calling and which ones are actually working numbers, and then the ones that a few people will pick up here and there. But I wasn't aware of that on the other side until I made the mistake of calling one of my sons, and he said, this number pops up as spam. And I was like, I had no idea it popped up.
Yeah.
Because I get a bunch of those calls early in the morning. I don't typically call early in the morning. I just don't feel comfortable calling people at 8 in the morning. So I'll do more like 10 o'clock, or sometimes I do between 5 and 6 or 6 and 7, stuff like that. So yeah, I didn't realize it did that, but I know I tend to not answer calls that say potential spam.
So what I would say about phone calling and just a little bit of coaching, if you're up to that.
Oh, yeah.
Belinda, are you a real estate agent or investor? What do you do?
I'm a real estate agent, but I'm also looking for properties to buy and hold.
Got it.
And it would be my first one.
And where do you do business?
In Laurel, Maryland, and throughout Prince George's County in Maryland. Okay.
So first thing I would say is most people own a house are up about 5:30 or 6 o'clock a.m. So you can call it 8 o'clock in general. Renters, you can call it 10:30 and they'll still be in bed or watching TV or something. In my experience, the vast majority. Number one. Number two, hang up before the fourth ring.
Yeah.
People pick up the phone after 3 rings, they're ready to
Right.
talk. At 4 rings or not. And if you let it ring 4 or 5 times, they're going to be pissed when they pick up the phone. You're bothering them. So I
Yeah,
would say
I
just,
heard that a while back when you mentioned that. And actually, I also took your advice from one of the recordings I heard a while back when you said you don't really leave a message, because I had been leaving
No,
this long message.
never.
But yeah, I stopped leaving a message, but you said the idea is to have a conversation, not necessarily to give them a message. So I stopped doing that. And then 3 rings, yeah, I cut it off.
Yeah, I mean, and just to repeat for people who didn't hear that before, thank you for complimenting and reminding me. If you could make money leaving messages, then Rhesus Monkeys would make a lot of money leaving messages. We make money talking to people. If you're a real estate agent, your job is to talk to people. As Tom Ferry taught me a long time ago, how do we get paid? Blah, 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 blah. But we talk to people, earn their trust, get them to like us and do business with us. Real quick on this call, if you would be so kind to put in the chat box, who here has ever bought anything where somebody left you a message, cold call on your phone, and then you returned the call and bought whatever they were selling? Who's ever done that? Please put me. And if you never have, put the word no. So if you've in the past got a phone call and you listen to the message, go, wow, cold call by this travel agent or this warranty on my car company or this real estate agent. And you go, that's great. I've always wanted to hear from them, and call them back and you bought, put me. If you never have done that, I'm going to put it in the box for myself. I'm going to put no. I'll be the first one to answer, I guess. There's a bunch of them. Okay, yeah, no, nada, no. Okay, good. So I'm on the right call here. So yeah, definitely I would say that if we want to talk to people, and I've made a lot more money in my career by not leaving a message and people call me back saying, I have a missed phone call from this number, and I'm talking to them. I have listed property as a result of that. So hope that helps a little bit, Belinda. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Okay. So that's just one of the hazards of this calling. You just don't know. Even if it does pop up, either they're going to answer or they're not. So it's just, can't get around that. Okay.
Yeah, they're going to answer it somewhere. And, maybe at some point you get a new service that doesn't show up as spam or something. I don't know. But play the cards you have the best you can, and then you can always upgrade your systems over time. Okay. Good. Okay, next question. Thank you, Belinda. In Maryland for the call telephone question. Got that. Okay, so Sandy asked, do I go to networking meetings for probate or elder law attorneys? Where would I find that info? Sandy, that's a great question. So Sandy, where do you do business?
Los Angeles, San Fernando Valley.
Okay, so Los
I'm
Angeles.
in your territory. Yeah.
My territory. Well, no, you're over the hill. I don't go over the hill. That's actually not true. I do. The last networking event I went to was in Van Nuys, to be specific.
Okay.
On Wednesdays at noon at the Sizzler on Van Nuys Boulevard is a real estate investing networking. So Sandy asked a question, do I go to networking meetings for probate or elder law attorneys? Where to find that info? I don't. So here's what I'll say. Now, Sandy, I don't think we've met before, have we?
I don't think so. I've been on several of these calls, Bill, but we haven't met in person now.
Okay, so my loss along the way. And are you full-time agent or part-time?
Full-time.
Okay. So as a full-time agent, my marketing strategy or parameters are going to be that if I'm going to market somebody in any capacity, I want to dominate that channel. I look at something like, for example, when I went to court, nobody went to court as regularly as me or was as visible as me in LA County Court when I went. If there were 3 or 4 others, I wouldn't go. I dressed better. And I make it sound like a judgment as far as quality of a better person. I judge more effectively, which I think is more like an attorney than any other real estate agent.
Mm-hmm.
And I would present myself in a way that was much more like attorneys than anybody else. I wanted to dominate that marketing channel. Today, my major emphasis on my marketing is my YouTube channel. I use a lot of different ways to use a video. And so at least in my market area, I don't know of an agent doing as much on YouTube. They might be doing other things, TikTok or whatever. That's not my concern. I'm driving people to where I'm at and they go, wow. So networking meetings, I do go to that meeting first off, I don't go out a lot just because I'm a little older now. My wife and I have our first grandson who lives 4 blocks away. So I put a good day's work in, but I really am not going out in the evenings as much. But I do go once a month to a networking event in Culver City area. That's the LA area County Real Estate Investor Association, which real estate investors. Why do I go there? Not to an attorney's event, because I'm the probate expert at that meeting.
Got it.
At the real estate event I mentioned in Van Nuys, it used to be bigger. It used to have like 50 people. Because of COVID, it's down to like 5 or 6. Good quality people. I went there once recently just to support it, but it's not big enough for me to go. I can't meet enough people per hour to justify my time. And again, I try to look at that meeting 1.5 people per hour of quality leads. So if I go to a networking event.
Per hour or per day? I thought you were at per day when you were at the courthouse.
For 3 hours of prospecting time. So I'm sorry.
Well, okay.
So if I go to an event that only had 5 people. I already knew 4 of them. There's no mathematical way. Driving there's a half hour. You're there for an hour or two. You drive a half hour back. It doesn't work. So you have to
Pay
look at your time.
$30 for their networking event. Yeah.
Correct. Now
Or 60. Yeah.
I am a member of, I'm an affiliate member of the LA bar, LA County, and the Beverly Hills bar. And I know there's one in San Fernando Valley. I'm not a member of it. I know there is one there though, as well. And I would say if I can dominate it. Now the problem there are people who for a long time have been the sponsors and dominate those 2 events. So I'm not going to go to those events because I don't want to look like another realtor. And the ones who dominate, one's done a ton of probate and knows a lot about it, knows a lot of people, legitimately probate expert. And then there's 1 or 2 that are attorneys as well as realtors. So for me to go, I'm just another realtor, right?
Mm-hmm.
For me,
So
that
you're
doesn't
an
work.
affiliate member, but you're not really attending the meeting.
I'm an affiliate member because
network.
I'm an affiliate member because I get the content, like they have meetings I get to learn from and train, and they have some chat room where I've learned a lot about probate as a result of that. So for me, it's more about the training opportunity, the content of being an affiliate versus networking. But I haven't, when they had meetings in the courthouse, they used to have continuing ed meetings in the courthouse, I would go, even though there'd be other realtors there, because again, I was there more often than anybody else. And so I just think from a marketing standpoint, you have to stand out. And if you're just one of several, then you're really not going to be as efficient or productive with your time. So to answer your question, I don't. There's an event in Long Beach that is for, I'm going to say fiduciaries and I can relate to that. But there's a couple other go all the time. But no, I'm competitive. And so I might go if I looked at that and said, hey, I could become a sponsor, get into membership, be of service to the organization. I don't want to sound like I have to be the only realtor there. But if there's a pathway where I can dominate it within 3 to 6 months, I would jump in. But that's in Long Beach. And so for me, I live in LA. That's a bit of a drive and a lot of my range right now.
Yeah.
So to answer your question, I don't do that, but those are my strategies when networking. I want to find something that I can be the number 1 person at. And that doesn't mean they have to hand me the keys to the castle. It might mean I have to earn my way by providing service, but I'm willing to do that. Does that help answer your question?
Yes, it does. It
Great.
does.
Well,
Thank you
nice
so
meeting you.
much, Bill. Pleasure
Sure.
to meet you.
Likewise. Okay, we got a bunch of questions here. I'm sorry to take a little long on some of these. Yeah, National Association of Estate Planners and Counsel is in Long Beach. Great event. I also go, just to back up Sandy, or to Sandy's question, I also go if the content is something that I want to learn about. So there was one of the best probate attorneys in Long Beach who gave a talk about a particular process called the Hegstead petition in California, where people write a trust and the property is not deeded in the trust. It's like buying a safe deposit box and your valuables are on top of the box, not in the box. How do you get the property in the box? There's a process in California, not in many other states, called the Hegstead petition. So this particular attorney was talking about it there, and he gave out copies of his forms. It was amazingly educational opportunity. So I will also say I'll go to any meeting, though these days they all seem to be online or recorded. So I'm a little lazy maybe, but I would go to network events to learn and to be a better probate agent, more likely than just to go and be another realtor.
Thank you.
Okay, so Deborah says try to join our bar to network, was told that they won't admit realtors. Only law students, attorneys, and paralegal administrative people. Deborah, what bar association do you try to join?
Stark County Bar Association in Canton, Ohio.
And do they not, you're saying that limit affiliate relationships as well to only that group of people? Because I'm not suggesting you join the bar, but join as an affiliate.
Right. That's what I thought I was doing. And then the bookkeeper, she was asking me questions, was I a realtor? Was I a law student? Was I a, admin type person? And I said, no, I'm a realtor, which is what I had marked. I wrote it in myself.
Yeah.
And she said that wasn't allowed. So I'm going to ask somebody else. So I just wanted to be an auxiliary, an affiliate or whatever.
An affiliate, right. And most of them, look, they all charge money. I mean, it's not a lot. Sometimes it
was
bucks,
$25.
$25, right. So why would they not? It's kind of stupid.
I know.
Stupid is as stupid does, as
Right.
for the great Forrest Gump said. Though you might find maybe your county bar doesn't, but there might be a state bar or regional bar. So like in California, we have choices. We have the LA bar, we have the Beverly Hills bar, we have a Santa Monica bar, we have the Valley bar, then we have a state bar association as well. They might allow you as an affiliate there. And
Okay, well, I'll check things out further then. Thanks.
Sure. Good luck.
And just as an aside, Bill, I mentioned it in the comment box, in the chat box, and I see someone else did mention it too. I believe all the leads does provide you with the personal representative information.
On probates, they do, right?
Yeah.
Almost all the probate data sources So this isn't sponsored by anybody other than Probate Master, which is a coaching. We don't have any particular data affiliation. So I can be agnostic and tell you that there's multiple data companies that will take the probate filings and sell them to you. And that will include the attorney, maybe their phone number and or email, the petitioner, if provided, the phone number and email, sometimes one and not both. So they're all a little different, and they're all different by county. Sandy's in LA like I am. We have probably more options than anybody as far as probate data. In other counties, you have maybe one or two or three options. Alltheleads.com is a national provider. Foreclosures Daily is a national provider. On my website's thelaprobateexpert.com. And towards the right, I have probate resources, and I have a drop down with data sources. So what I've done there is I've made a list of all the data sources I'm aware of, because some will work in certain counties only and not other counties. And then I would just ask you, if you do go in there and have an experience with it, just let me know. I like to pass on good information. I get my own data, plus I subscribe to Probate Money, which is Paul Horn's data service. I like their interface. Plus I subscribe to probatedata.com just because they're cheaper, and I do my own data as well. So data is a big part of my business. I could speak about that for an hour or two. But in some counties, you only have one choice, or you have no choices, different counties. I would say you probably have a choice in almost every county in America. It's very rare that you don't have any at all. Again, I think that most of the filings will have who the petitioner is, because they get it at the petition, not when it's approved. And so whether the executor or administrator, they'll have who that person is, their name, and then they'll cross-reference or attempt to cross-reference to provide phone numbers for that person. Some only offer the data that's on the filing itself. So sometimes the petitioner puts the phone number on and they'll pick that up. Pete's saying that in Colorado, you can't get the data until after the probate's closed. You know, it's interesting. In LA, for example, people call expired listings as a regular course of business over the years. Or cancel listings. Cancel means both parties cancel. Expired means it just expired. There's no stats withdrawn, which means that it's under contract, but it's not on the market. So that's a case where a customer will say, well, I don't want to market the property anymore, and they'll just pull it off the market. It's still in a contract if it sells, and the listing agent will get paid. And technically, we're not allowed to call on withdrawal listings, and there are agents that are very successful, and that's all they do. So I'm sure, I don't know, Peter, you tell me if I'm wrong, I'm sure there are real estate agents who solicit probate filings in Colorado, even though it's not legal. I'm just sure it happens. It's just, has to be, but anyhow. Okay, so I asked for recommendations who you guys use. So far, with local probate court online info. Vince, what county are you in? Vince says he just gets his local online information, and that's an option, though. You can go in manually and pull up, and I do recommend to people, depending on what your budget is, you can go in live and pull up case by case, and you can read the file. It's all the leads does, and all the probate dailies do, is they hire somebody, most commonly, to go into court and open up case by case. Then they've learned some tricks to do it faster, and they pay them $15, $20 an hour to do it or more. And then they have to park downtown LA, and there's a lot of logistics to it. But all they're really doing, I've seen them personally, I've sat next to them back pre-COVID days, is they pull up the case and they write down, or they type in, I guess, an iPad, the name and phone numbers and emails and case numbers and all that. So you can do that too. And I recommend for an agent starting this process, if you want my 2 cents, I'd say go do that before you pay any money. So at least you learn what the documents look like, what forms are on there. Notice how many typos there are. Notice how many are handwritten versus typed. I think that's a good thing to learn before I would pay for the data. If I'm new, I would go in and imagine if I didn't have the service, how would I get it? To help you understand how you get the data that you do get. And then Melanie gets all the leads and foreclosuresdaily.com. I will say I think that all the leads data is the most complete, but it's also more expensive. And so you have to draw your own assessment as to how that works. Some people get the same raw data through Foreclosure Daily or others that All Leads does, and does their own skip tracing. All the Leads takes the data and does some skip tracing for you. Of course, that's an ad step, and that's going to cost some money there. But if they're doing it for you, then you're saving doing it yourself, the money and the time. Chris uses all the leads and probate data. Great. And again, I put the list of all the sources I know. You might have to call different providers, but here's what I'll tell you. If you do the work and call 10 data companies and find the one that services your county, you're going to have an advantage over anybody else, number one. Number two, you can go to wherever your county, to the extent they allow you in, and access the records manually. But the person who does it for that county will be there. And so you'll find out what company they're with, and you can buy the data from them either personally or through the service they represent. For example, if you're there and you find the alltheleads.com person, that person might sell you the data on the side directly. So, okay, Evan Gross, no relation. Pay somebody to do it for you after you know how to do it. Yeah, I would agree, Evan, but you should first know it yourself, and I agree with you. Your local probate data is mostly already skip traced. On most records, the person representative's phone number is already skip traced, 100% accurate, because the rep fills it out. Good for you. So Melly says that foreclosure data is incomplete in some counties. ATL often has leads with no real estate attached. Yeah, and the lead's confused. Yeah, that does happen. There are people who call. What I try to tell agents when they'll say to me, well, call and a bunch don't have real estate. Yeah, that's just how life is. I mean, the analogy I use is if I gave you $1 billion diamond mine, you wouldn't complain about all the dirt you had to remove. You would remove the dirt, pull the diamonds out, and sell them. And so I think real estate's the same way. There'll be a lot of leads that aren't good. There'll be a lot of leads that are good. If you call them all, you'll figure out which are which and list the good ones and put the other ones in your database. USProbateLeads is another source Kat recommends. Great. And then and again, saying you can pay a local retiree or college student to go once a week and get the records. He's saying for $50. So, yeah, I think that's a little. Look, I mean, that's my experience with that is hit or miss. People, life's change, and you get somebody in the rhythm, and then they stop, or you fall behind. So the services have always worked well for me, but in most counties, you can pay somebody in there. Then says for him, he thinks referrals from attorneys would be his preferred lead source. Great. So then I would go that way. Though I will say the data is helpful. Because when you find an attorney, you can see how many cases they do or don't do. And it is eye-opening sometimes when you see somebody. And I had an attorney I met in court, and I tried to solicit her for referrals, and she was on vacation for 2 months. I was getting ready to call her back, and I realized she doesn't do much business. It just isn't worth my time to call. So the data will also give you some market data, which I use a lot. Belinda uses US Probate. Yeah, so they're good. They're on my list as well. So US Probates, ProbateLeads.com. Kat says you go to LinkedIn and look for court researchers in your market. That's another good source. I kind of got in the weeds here in the chat box. Sorry, I hope I didn't miss anybody. Anybody have any other questions? I see Belinda's got her hand up. We'll give her a spot there.
Yeah, you had mentioned that you do get subscriptions from 2 different vendors, but you don't do direct mail, you don't do phone calls. So you said you do primarily your marketing through YouTube and I guess maybe videos. Do you do like Facebook special audience or something? How are you actually prospecting that? Or are you just dealing with getting referrals from like attorneys at this point?
Yeah, so the data I use, I'm not using the data to market to. I've already met a lot of attorneys. I have a database of 180 attorneys I've met in Los Angeles County. I've met them, talked to them, called them, emailed them, whatever, social media with them, and families and petitioners, and investors and such. So I use data more for research than I do for marketing to them. I feel like I already know enough. Now, that's not to say that I couldn't also mail. It just costs money and takes time. And that's not saying I couldn't target people on Facebook ads. It just takes money and time. And I may at some point. My business is more about going deeper with relationships I have at this stage of my career and getting referrals from other agents. I just find that more interesting for me personally. I think you have to enjoy what you do. And I've always varied my career a little bit. And so I'm in a stage of my life where I'm more looking to work with attorneys, investors, and realtors who call me up and say, hey, I'm a great realtor. I got probate. I don't really want to learn all about it. Can we partner on the deal? And we split 50-50. I handle the attorney, all the legal paperwork, they handle the property, and that works well for them. So not for everybody, but it works for me and it works for them. So I think you have to find your value proposition and where you help and contribute and work there. Mine's not calling anymore. And I did that for a long time, petitioners. I think it's important to start there because when I get an attorney who refers me a case, what do? I've got to call the petitioner. Now, I've called thousands of petitioners. So when I call them today, I use the same script as when I cold called petitioners. Hey, it's Bill Gross. Your attorney, Joe, referred you to me. He may have mentioned that, or maybe you signed an email between us. And I'm just going to see how I can be of assistance. One of the things I've always learned is when I call somebody, even referred, I want them to feel like they're in control. I ask a question, how can I help you and be of assistance? So I'm not saying not to call petitioners. I feel like I've evolved out of that to a higher dollar per hour activity for me personally. And I'm not saying it's wrong or right, just that's what we're saying.
Yeah.
Okay, so Vince, you're welcome, Vince. It was a pleasure. And then last, we'll just wrap up with this last question. This is a classic. So when a peer tells you they have a handle on the first call, do you continue to mail or call them? So if I'm cold calling them, the answer is yes. You call until the case is no longer a case, until the property is listed with somebody else and you're no longer allowed to contact them. But, and why would you do that? Because in general, when you ask people, when you cold call, nobody needs you when you call. I'm going to ask a question and now just answers for everybody. When you, having started cold calling when I was a real estate agent years ago, nobody is sitting at home waiting for the phone to ring. I would call them and say, hey, this house down the street sold. When do you plan on moving? I never had anybody say, it's amazing you called me. I was just talking to my wife. We really this minute finished the conversation. She said to me, well, who's going to list the property? I said, I don't know a good realtor. And the phone rang. It was you. That's never happened. Now, I've had people say, we've thought about selling our house. We've talked about selling our house recently. You would call. We spoke last night. But nobody's waiting for your phone to ring when you're a stranger. So the natural process is, people do business with people they know, like, and trust. They don't know you before you call. You got to get them to know you. They have to learn to like you on the phone, build some trust. And then what's the next step? And usually the next step from a phone call is a meeting. And so your goal is to talk to them on the phone and break down the barriers of a relationship. It's no different than dating for marriage. Now, I'm going to date myself here. I've been married 36 years, so I haven't dated for at least 36 years. But in general, you just don't walk up to a woman or a man and say, hey, I'd like to spend the rest of my life with you. Let's go and have some children. You just don't do that. You build up a relationship. Same in sales. And so I would say that when somebody says they have a handle, well, great. That sounds fantastic. Yeah, I talk to people all day long struggling with stuff. So tell me, I know there's a property involved in there. What do you guys plan on doing with it? Love to help you if I can. And the thing is, one question you have to ask yourself is, are you being a telemarketer or a neighbor? Everybody likes a friendly, helpful neighbor. Nobody likes a telemarketer. If they don't like you, it's because you sound like a telemarketer or you're being a telemarketer. If you're a friend looking to help them, they're gonna who's not gonna like help? We all are busy. We all have too much on our plate to handle. We all would appreciate somebody calling, genuinely offering to help us. So if you believe you can help people and you have some resources to bring to the party, then you need to approach it that way. And if you're getting feedback otherwise, every time they hang up on you and say, not interested, boom, that person heard you as a telemarketer. What did you do on that call that you can correct next time so that they'll appreciate you as a friendly neighbor? That's the question you have to ask yourself when you cold call. And if you work on it every call, you get a little bit better and a little bit better. And after a while, yes, that's a standard objection. I have everything handled. That was true with for sale by owners. They're going to sell the house on their own. They never do. That was true with expireds. They're going to keep off the market for a while. Most of them relist and sell. That's true with probates. They all have it handled. So your job is to handle the objection. And I'll just give a quick, I'm a little over time here today, but a standard process for handling an objection. An objection is anything they say other than a condition. A condition is there's no property. A condition is we sold the property 2 years ago. You can't solve that. Anything else is an objection. We don't plan on selling it now. We have everything handled. We have a realtor. My brother's a realtor. Anything else is an objection, a reason why they're choosing not to work with you now when they could. Now that you know that it's an objection, there's 3 steps for every objection. And this is basic objection handling. Number 1, repeat what they say. Number 1 complaint with salespeople is they don't listen to people. So when somebody says to you, they have it handled, oh, great, you have it handled. You repeat what they say. Second is you affirm what they say. You have, oh, great, everything handled. That sounds great. Lucky you. I'm curious. And the third is you pivot into another question. So it's 3 steps, and you have to make it sound real. You can't make it sound like you're reading a script. 1, you repeat. 2, you affirm their objection, whatever they say. Oh, your brother's an agent. Oh, that's great. So I'm curious, what's your plan with the property? And the third is you pivot to another question. So that's the standard objection process. I boiled down an hour-long training into 2 minutes because we're a little over time. So I apologize, but we got that question at the end, and that's one of my favorites. Okay, hey, I'm on the Probate Mastery webpage or Facebook group, so feel free to ask questions there. And then you guys all answer each other's questions, which is great. I'm just a colleague. I'm just a practitioner like you guys. I do this because I'm able to help fill in for Chad on this call from time to time, so I'm glad to do that. I'm Bill Gross. I'm the LAProbateExpert.com if you want to see my website. I also host my own probate call. Thursdays, 4 p.m. is Probate Weekly, 4 p.m. Pacific time, 7 p.m. Eastern. Love to have you on that. That's free as well. There, usually I do interviews, some of the same people Chad uses, and some I find on my own. And if I can help you selling property primarily in California, or you're interested in joining a national probate team, I'd love to talk about that. That all said, this call today we do is Probate Mastery. It's part of Chad Corbett's Probate Mastery program and the EARN program as well. We do this every Tuesday at noon Pacific, 3 p.m. Eastern, and then we get this recorded and we put it on the website. If you want to see past episodes or search content, go to probatemastery.com or check out Chad's YouTube channel, and all the past episodes are there as well with all kinds of other content. So thank you everybody for being on the call today. Thanks for all those asked questions. I appreciate you, and we'll see you guys next week. Thanks so much.